What's poppin', you guys? Welcome back to the Popcorn Patrol podcast. I'm your host, SJ, and I'm here with the other host, Jeff Francis.
It's me.
And today we're doing a good show for you. We have a good movie coming up. I hope you guys are ready because we're saying his name 3 times with Beetlejuice. And we're back. Welcome back. How are you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Good, good. We're here with our Halloween Spooktacular all this month. So we're starting off with, what's our first movie, Jeff?
Beetlejuice.
Awesome.
Beetlejuice.
Yeah. Are you excited about this one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I am. Yeah, I'm always
Yeah.
excited.
Halloween movies are fun, right? Like, I don't know if you watched a lot of them growing up, if you're like a big Halloween guy or, but I was never a huge Halloween person growing up, but I really enjoyed everything about it. As a kid, you go trick-or-treating, you watch some movies, and you come back, you check your chocolate and your treats and whatnot. So, there's a good vibe around it for me. And but growing up, I never really like watched the movies religiously every year or anything. It's not like I could sit for hours and watch Hallmark movies while I'm baking or whatever, but like it was never like that with Halloween movies. But I do remember some great ones from childhood that I used to love watching. And Beetlejuice is definitely on that list for me. I didn't really remember too much about it when because I watched it a long time ago. I don't know, must be like 15 years, 20 years, 30, I don't know, long time. And I remember finding it funny, but I didn't remember what about it I found funny. So it was good. It was good that we went back and watched this.
I watched Beetlejuice as a kid. I have watched it. This is now my second time watching it. The first time was within the last year. I watched it with my wife, but it was not something that I watched the cartoon as a kid. The cartoon was great.
I love the cartoon. I used to watch it. It's Saturday, every Saturday. Yeah. Do you know any facts about this movie, Jeff? Did you?
Well, I know that Beetlejuice was released in 1988. It had a budget of $15 million and it brought in just under $75 million at the box office.
Hey.
It is directed by Tim Burton and it stars it was written by Michael McDowell, Larry Wilson, Warren Scarron. It stars Alec Baldwin, Gina Davis, and Michael Keaton, and has Winona Ryder in it as well.
And let's talk about some of the things that we loved about this movie, or what I call popcorn paradise. So the popcorn paradise parts of this movie are that the actors in this movie, the cast is terrific. We have Catherine O'Hara, Alec Baldwin, Gina Davis. We got Winona Ryder, Michael Keaton. It was terrific. I was happy to see them all in there. And, Michael Keaton, I didn't even recognize him as Beetlejuice. Yeah. I didn't recognize him. I had to ask my husband. I was like, is that supposed to be Michael Keaton, right? Because I don't remember him like that. And he plays the character so well. Like he plays the Beetlejuice character so well. There's like little nuances here and there. And like, it's a kind of movie that you could watch a few times and you would always notice something different in the movie. And
you mentioned that, and I noticed that along the top of the bookshelf in the library, they had those yellow National Geographic magazines.
Yeah.
There's like hundreds of them.
Yeah. Yeah. And there was when he's first introduced and he's sitting on the chair, but you don't really see him. He's just reading a newspaper and he's like, oh, nice couples, good looking couple. Look stupid though. And I thought that was pretty funny because he says it like so quick and so under his breath that you almost miss it. But it made me chuckle a lot. But there's lots of moments with him in this movie like that, which I really appreciated. Out of the couple that move into the house first, Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin. I thought Gina Davis really stole the show between the two of them. I felt like Alec Baldwin could have been played by anybody, but Gina Davis, she did a really great job. Uh, I also like the humor in this movie. The humor in this movie was very sarcastic. It was very um kind of out there. This movie is chaotic, like especially like when you see the intro, the movie is so chaotic, and that kind of carries throughout the whole movie. Yeah, and even though there are multiple storylines, we still see them. It's still clear what's happening.
Yep.
Like the storylines all tie in together. I find like usually when there's like all these little side storylines, they don't kind of connect, and it causes like such a cluster f. That's how I felt about it. um
Scenes that I particularly enjoyed was the dinner scene with
yes.
the song. Then it was Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis's character that was kind of like controlling them.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
song that was such a great scene.
That scene is like such a classic scene. I think that's the scene that I remember the most from growing up, is that shake, 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 senora. And if you listen to the whole like all the music in that movie, besides the score, which is done by I think Danny Elfman, it sounds like Danny Elfman written all over it. Um but they use that Caribbean band that does the Deo song. I think they use the same band for the whole movie. So you'll hear like different, like any calypso song that's in that movie is by the same band. And I read that somewhere too. So
The
yeah,
score
it was.
was done by Danny Elfman.
Yeah, I knew it. I could hear it right away. Brilliant. The score, the music went well, really well with what was going on. Um, I wanted to talk about the art, like direction in this movie, and um how it really it's very classic Tim Burton, and you see it in his movies, like his more recent movies as well, so it's got like that Tim Burton stamp on it, but it's just so cleverly done. It's The aesthetics are clean. For that time, I imagine the CGI was probably really good for it at that time.
I
um
don't think there was any CGI. I think what they used in that movie was it's a cross between live action and stop animation. And the stop animation, when Beetlejuice is in like his snake form, where
okay, yeah, yeah,
basically
yeah.
they'll have the doll there. They take a picture, they move the doll, they take another picture, they move a doll, they take another picture, and then they just put all those pictures together. And when they
Right.
put them together, then it makes what The Nightmare Before Christmas is like. It makes what this movie had a bunch of, and it's that stop animation.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Rudolph and the Christmas movies,
Yep.
right? Like that, like stop animation. I wasn't sure if they used CGI or if they did it that way, but it was cool. It was really good. I thought Catherine O'Hara, she was playing Catherine O'Hara. She always chooses these like wild, wacky characters to play. That's Delia Dietz,
Yep.
the mom of Winona Ryder there, and she's a sculpturist.
A
I
terrible
don't
one
know
at
if
that.
that's the word. Yeah, yeah, well,
Who
yeah,
thinks
that's
she's the
right.
greatest thing in the world?
You're right. And the dad's just kind of like, he just wants a quiet place to he's a real estate agent or a developer or something, I think.
Yep.
And he just wants a quiet place to his own little space, right?
Something one other scene that I thoroughly enjoyed was any of the times that they were waiting in the waiting room when
Oh,
they're
yeah.
the Alec Baldwin and
Gina
Gina
Davis.
Davis's character were in the dead area waiting for, I guess, meeting their caseworker.
Yeah,
Those
yeah.
scenes were great,
Yeah.
especially at the end of the movie when Beetlejuice is there and he
With the
tries to make fun of the shaman, saying, "Oh, did you do that? That's nice work." And he's pointing to the guy like with the crushed in
the shrunken
skull. Yeah,
skull, the shrunken head
yeah.
or whatever.
And
Yeah.
then he doesn't answer him, so then he like swipes his number because he's number like 9,999,000,000.
Yeah, yeah.
The shaman beside him is number 4, and it's
Yeah.
now serving number 2. So he like swaps the number by doing a like, oh, look at that, and
Yeah.
feels his number, and then the shaman just kind of like reaches over and makes his head shrink.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was really funny. I enjoyed that. He Beetlejuice is kind of this character that is like very mischievous and really offbeat kind of character, but it works in this movie. I feel like this movie couldn't be done today with because the actors were so great. The cast was so great together and the writing
You
was
say
good.
that, but they're working on a
Oh
Beetlejuice
no.
2 right now as we
Stop.
speak. It's supposed
No,
to be
Jeff,
released next
no.
September.
Who's in it?
All the normal people.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it'll have Michael Keaton is reprising his role. Who else have they got?
Probably Winona Ryder,
Yep, she is in it. Beetlejuice has
Catherine
a wife.
O'Hara. Beetlejuice has a wife.
Yeah.
I thought he was all about Lydia.
Well, I'm sure it's not taking place right after. I'm sure it's a giant leap in
Right.
in years. But Jenna Ortega is playing Lydia's daughter. Monica Bellucci is playing Beetlejuice's wife. Michael Keaton's back. William Defoe is playing an unnamed character. Catherine O'Hara is back. Winona Ryder's back. That's it for who's back that I
Okay.
can see at
I
quick
mean, it's
glance.
not a remake, so it might be okay. It's like a second one with the same people, so it
Yep.
might be okay. Um, but I was like, oh, I haven't heard of a remake, so I was like, thank God, because this movie to me is, um, it's a classic. It's a classic Halloween movie to me, for sure. Yeah,
The other
yeah.
thing I liked about it was the scene where they first meet Beetlejuice, when they basically call his name out and then they shrink down onto the diorama
Yeah,
of the city and he's in the cemetery. The thing that I really liked was the practical effects in that scene where they like the the diorama is using things to make it look like it's smaller and but it looks lifelike, real like.
right,
When
right.
they shrink down, they have to make it look like it's a diorama, but it's human size. So when you look at the grass, it on the diorama, you can see that it's
It's
okay, that's
fake
fake grass, but
grass.
they actually had to make something that looked like that, but real life size. And when they're like digging in underneath the
It's like
stone,
layers of cardboard.
yeah,
I was going to
stone and
mention that. I
cardboard and
noted
wood,
that. Yeah.
and it's really neat. And you see them shoveling and yeah, going
It
through
was so
really
smart.
cool.
Like, who
Absolutely.
thinks of that? Like,
Tim
whose
Burton. Tim
mind
Burton
thinks
thinks
of
of
that?
that.
But it was so clever.
Yeah.
At first, I was like, is that grass? Why is it so pointy? And then they started digging. I'm like, what are they digging? Why is there like air under there,
They're
like
like digging
floor?
like a cork board.
It's
Yep.
like, yeah,
Right. Yeah.
layers, like how you would build a
Yeah.
diorama, basically,
Absolutely.
and they're digging it. So I was like, you know what? Yes, this is clever. This is not a movie that this is, like I said, this is a movie that if you go back and you watch it every year or whatever, you're going to notice something else, like some other little thing. It has layers to it,
Yeah.
you know? Um, so I really appreciate that. I'm always looking for like little things like that. And I like when the movie doesn't assume that the viewer is an idiot, you know? I
Yeah.
appreciate that. Now I guess we can go on to our things that belong in the popcorn prison. So things that we didn't like about the movie. I didn't there wasn't too much, but one thing I must say is that I found there was I thought there was a lot more Beetlejuice in the Beetlejuice movie. I found there wasn't enough of Michael Keaton because he was so good in it. And we see him at the beginning, like in little pockets. He doesn't really get let out until he doesn't actually come out of the diorama until the end, really.
Yeah.
And when he does the snake thing, and then he gets sent right back. So he's not really in it as for a movie that's called Beetlejuice. I found probably Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin, it was more their story, I found, and them trying to, understand why they were how they like if they were dead or not, and finding the book, the manual for the departed or whatever, and kind of following that. Yeah, so I could have used a little more Beetlejuice, and maybe we'll see that in the second one. I don't know.
Maybe. I
Yeah.
didn't particularly care for when they went outside of their house. I guess they had to have a mechanism to make it look like they were trapped in their house. I don't know what the point of those big sandworms was.
Oh.
I don't know. Maybe it was just Tim Burton wanted to do Tim Burton things and have just some weird freaky thing. But I mean, I
Mhm.
didn't really care for that. It was kind of. I mean, you could have. I guess it's the creative side. So I mean, that's fine. But I didn't particularly care for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I could see that. I just thought it was like a device because it's like if they leave the house, that's where they end up, kind of thing.
Yeah.
They they just end up in the sandworm world. And like I don't know if you remember the cartoon, but the sandworm place was like a big deal. Like I think Beetlejuice got sent there at least every episode.
I'm
Like,
not sure. All I know is they had like a car and it was on like a roller coaster thing through the sandworm thing. I don't know if they've built that to
oh yeah,
travel,
okay.
but I can't remember much from the cartoon. I just the opening and that's about it.
Yeah,
I watched a
yeah,
lot of it, but I don't remember much. We're going
right.
back 30 years ago.
That's probably the thing that I disliked about this movie the most. I mean, there's some great scenes there. And with Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis, there was a lot of them, and not I didn't feel like it gave the other cast enough time on screen. So maybe that's something. I don't know. Um, would I watch this movie again? Absolutely. I would definitely watch this movie again. It's one that I enjoy at Halloween. If it comes on, I'm watching it. It's funny, it's clever, it's well done, the music's great. Um, yeah, the characters are compelling, they're funny, they've they've got a story to them. I would definitely give this a large popcorn, I think. Jeff, what's your rating on this one?
That's fair. I give this a medium popcorn.
Okay.
The movie was fun. It was a movie. I was entertained, but I don't know. I just not enough Beetlejuice, and some of the characters annoyed me a little bit. Like
Mm,
the
the mom.
no, she was okay. I think she annoyed me, and that was her purpose was to
Oh,
annoy
the
people, right?
interior
But it was
designer
yeah,
annoyed
her
me.
buddy that was. I was like, this guy's useless. Like,
So
I guess it just
pretentious.
I guess it gave them I guess it gave Catherine O'Hara someone to like bounce off of, like
Hmm.
act against,
Hmm.
where the husband was just like, I'm gonna
He's
go
just
sit in my
there.
study and
Yeah.
sit here and do
Yep.
nothing because that's what I want to do. So I guess it gave her someone to act beside, but I didn't particularly care for his character. So medium
Yeah,
popcorn.
I think I think that's a fair assessment for sure. Okay, so medium popcorn for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, my overall thoughts and recommendations, definitely watch this movie. You will enjoy it, I think.
Yep. So, according to the Rotten Tomatoes website,
Okay.
the tomato meter for the critics was 86%.
Oh, they liked it.
Yeah, I believe that would fall into our large popcorn uh category,
Okay.
somewhere around that.
Yep.
And the audience score was not too far off at 82%. So I
It's a good movie.
think everybody else liked it a little bit more than I did. Not too
That's
much. I'm not saying it's a
okay.
bad movie. Don't get on me, haters. I like Beetlejuice. I like the character. I wish there was more of him in there.
Yeah, me
One of
too.
my
And
big complaints about a lot of the superhero movies is there's not enough
of
superheroes.
them.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
want to see them. I don't want to see 4 hours of Bruce Wayne. I want to
Whatever.
see Batman
Yeah, you want to
like
see him
this.
doing the Batman
Yeah, I
things,
want to
right?
see Beetlejuice doing the Beetlejuice thing.
Yeah, sometimes they try and do too much, but they should just like pull it, pull it in, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, thanks for listening. If you can, follow us on all our social media, give us a like, maybe subscribe. We could use some subscribers. If you're on Apple Podcasts, leave a rating and a review. That helps us immensely. And next week we'll be doing Friday the 13th. And it will be released on a special day, Friday the 13th. Normally we release
Hey,
our episodes on Thursdays, but we figured since it was October and it's Halloween and there's a Friday the 13th that we are going to release Friday the 13th.
guys, after we do Friday the 13th, the next two movies that we're doing this month are Edward Scissorhands, and we're going to end it all off with,
Nightmare Before Christmas.
thank you, The Nightmare Before Christmas. And then we're into November. So we'll have a new set of movies for you guys for that month. So hope you guys will listen, stay tuned, and enjoy our Halloween spooktacular. But before we go, yeah, right. Before you go, Jeff, who helps the little pumpkins cross the road to school? The crossing gourd.
That's a good one. How do you make a tissue dance? Put a little
Uh,
boogie in them.
oh. Popcorn Patrol out. Peace.